What it is, y'all? It is your old boy Pilk, and I'm coming back at you today with more Danmachi. Now, it is the start of a new month. Actually, yesterday was the start of a new month, but we had too much other stuff to talk about yesterday for me to really dedicate the time this video needs. So, with the new start of a new month, you guys know the Seiros and dulb shop resets, and this is really important. I do this every single month as a big reminder because as we get new people playing the game, this is a great opportunity to use your 2 and 3 star excess bonds to basically upgrade your 4-star units. And what do I mean by that? Well, very simply put, let's go ahead and talk about this in the realm of the current aspect of the game. So obviously, we've got a free summon every single day for the next couple of weeks. Let's see if we can pull some fire here. And then, of course, oh, actually we got a 4-star. This will be really interesting to see what happens here. So, we got a 3-star Leafia, 2-star Tiona, 4-star right out of the gate. Is this Sayaka? No. Cassandra. Oh, that's right. I keep forgetting you can get some of the older 4-stars with this, so that's kind of nice. I think that Cassandra is actually maxed. I believe so. We'll find out here in a minute. So we're going to get a lot of 2 and 3 star. A double 4-star? Oh. What in the happy horse? Okay, and this is actually perfect. So an Argana dupe does mean dulb for me because I actually do 100% have her max. So this is a perfect situation in which to discuss the basically what's going on this week. A double 4-star pull on the freebie though. That's unexpected. That is a great way to start the video. Because what we're talking about, if I go up here into the little, I'll do this one more time, gear icon at the top here where you go to settings and all that. If you go to inventory and you go to bond, you'll be able to see all of the bonds that you have in here. Not only 2 stars, not only 3 stars, but also your 4-star excess bonds. Now, why are we doing this? Well, it's very simply put. You see the little button up there at the top that says sell multiple items? If I click there, there's an option to sell all and an option to sell surplus. Now, obviously, in most situations, you just want to sell surplus. What that's going to do is that's going to take every bond that you don't need to max it out. Let's say you've got a couple 2 stars and 3 stars that are like, you know, +3, +4. It's then going to like leave the 1 or 2 that you need. Or if they're level 60 or have nothing in them whatsoever, it's going to leave all 5 bonds that are necessary. Basically, whatever you need to max it out, it's going to save. Everything else, it's going to sell. So let's see what we get when we sell surplus of our 2 and 3 stars. Okay? Not a whole heck of a lot. Just a little tiny bit. Basically whatever came from that summon. Now, here's the fun part. I can actually go up here and I can click 4-star. You will notice that sell all goes away. That's just basically making sure that you don't accidentally sell the 4-star bonds you need. And once again, this is only going to sell the excess 4 stars that, like in the case of the the Argana that I just summoned for. Here we go. So I've actually got a decent amount here. So, okay, so this is the Argana that we just got. Now you will notice that I got 50 Seiros and 10 dulb, dulb being the black gems. There is not much of a way to farm black gems beyond this and then like maybe through the heroic trial. It's really about the only way to do it. But these black gems only come from 4 stars. Now Seiros, the white gem, can come from 2 stars, 3 stars. And I'm going to show you another neat option here in a moment. But let's go ahead and sell those. So I've got 170, but I really need more than that to do what I want to do. So if I really was desperate, I could click sell all. Now you will notice that when I do sell all, and I go over to 4-star, it won't let me do that. I have to unclick 4-star in order to do sell all. Now sell all will sell every single 2 and 3-star bond that I have. And you know, with as many summons as we're getting, I feel pretty comfortable doing that for where I'm at in the game. Now, it is worth noting, and this was a big debate after last month's video on this, every single 2-star and 3-star that you max, you will get 80 iris. You get 80 iris per unit that is maxed out. So there is a certain amount of value to your 2 and 3 stars. Now, obviously, there are some 3 stars that you also are going to want to use. And there's some very valuable 3 stars, especially the assists that give you ailment resistance, because early game you don't have the ability to produce the anklets and the amulets and things like that to give you the ailment resistances. So like your Misha, who does stun and stuff like that, you will need those units. So if you're early game, Sell All is not a very good option for you. That said, I'm going to go ahead and do Sell All just because. Alright, so 216, it's not going to give me a huge amount. But if I go back down here one more time, right now, we have the Ais Wars gacha live. Now, Ais Wars this is mostly like a collection gacha. This is not a gacha that you're going to be able to, like, max units and run them all the time. And, you know, they're mostly here for fun and for the lulz. But you can farm Seiros through this fairly effectively. I emphasize fairly effectively. It is a guaranteed 4-star pull, but I want you to be aware of going into this, you do not get the normal 50 Seiros from these 4 stars. You only get 10 like it was a 3-star. In fact, it kind of makes sense because these April Fool's units, their 4-star stats are more like 3-star stats. So don't get too excited. You can't farm dulb here. You can't farm a huge amount of Seiros, but we get 2 and 3 stars just like normal here. So, you know, you can use this to farm Seiros to an extent. How much? Well, we're going to find out here in just a moment. All right. So we got Lily, and I do know Lily is an excess bond. I've actually got her maxed out. Got another 4-star. 4-star rates are quadruple, but... and actually, I've got Haruhime maxed out as well. Ryu is not dropping, and then she's the one I really need out of here. But I digress. It's 100 free-to-play Iris, and for me, I like maxing these units out. They're not really useful. You're not going to use them in any realistic aspect of the game. I talked about this yesterday in the video, but for me, they're just a lot of fun to collect, though Ryu will not drop. It's making me crazy. But neither here nor there. If you want to know basically the value of these units, let's go back up here and go to inventory and go to bonds. And I'm going to go ahead and sell my surplus 4 stars. So that's going to be the 2 that we just acquired. So you will notice that, in fact, let's go back here because that is probably including some 3 stars. Let's do just the 4 stars. Here we go, sell surplus. And so that's going to give us basically 20 Seiros, where normally a 4-star would give us 50 Seiros apiece. Those April Fool's units only give us 10 Seiros apiece. So yes, you can farm Seiros through the new event. It's just not that efficient, and it's not that great. And no, you cannot farm dulb. So these are literally the 2 4-stars we just pulled, and you know, just know you can't really farm them through here. So let me go ahead and do this one more time. Let's just go ahead and sell all the surplus bonds. Bada bing, bada boom. And we'll go back out here. Now, like I said, if you're late game like I am, there is some value to selling all of your bonds. And for me, because I'm going to continue chasing Ryu, I know that any bonds I need for 2 or 3 stars, I can get pretty quickly anyway. The other thing to bear in mind, and while I'm on the subject, let's consider one other thing. If you are considering maxing out 2 stars and 3 stars in order to farm Iris, do bear in mind, and it's not in here, it's actually in the guild. If you go in here on your daily missions, and unfortunately I've already done it for today, but on your daily missions, there's an option in here where you have to upgrade a unit. If you max out your 2 and 3 stars and you get them all to level 80, you will not be able to do your daily upgrade. So, or unless you've got a 4-star laying around or something like that, which most people don't. So, if you are considering that, my recommendation, and let me go ahead and go into my page here, because this is very, very, very important. Let's go down to the 2 stars here. So you notice that my 2 stars, even though they're +5 most of them are at level 76. The reason is because I need to come in here at some point, and I need to do a level up. I can always go over here to upgrade, and I can just tick one of the small items, upgrade her, and there we go. There will be a finite amount of time you could do that, but for as little as it upgrades her, it does leave that available. So if you are considering max limit breaking all your 2 and 3 stars, do bear in mind, don't take them up to level 80. You want to leave them at level 76 so you have some room for that growth. Otherwise, you're literally missing out on 10 iris a day. I can't stress that enough. A lot of people were very mad in the last video that I didn't discuss this, so I do want to make you well aware that yes, you can get 80 iris a unit, but I'm going to show you another way that you can actually get even more potentially, especially early game. So let's go back to the Seiros and dulb shop on that note and talk about that. So Seiros and dulb. If I go in here, there are a lot of things you can do. Now, yesterday in the first step to make this video, I bought up all the 2 and 3 star tickets here, and I do recommend buying those almost first because you can get 4 stars out of there. You can replenish your dulb and Seiros pretty quickly. Well, Seiros, because you're not going to spend dulb here. If the black gem, the dulb is good for buying prism bonds and for adventures and assists, and I do recommend buying only those, maybe hero lights if you really, really, really would like to, but I think your best value is right here. Maybe doing like this one once a month. It's 10, so I think that actually could be worthwhile. But neither here nor there. Most of you guys aren't going to have dulb. Most of you guys are going to have Seiros. Now, Seiros, you can buy Hero Fauna, you can buy Smelting Stones. I think the best value, max out these tickets at 600 Seiros. It really, you'd be surprised after you sell bonds first of the month. It adds up pretty quick, especially right now when we're doing as many summons as we are, with the collab being on and all that stuff. You'll be able to get 600 pretty quickly. Now, the rest of this, dungeon cakes, dungeon sandwiches, books of nobility, books of knowledge, big bouquets, single flowers, and especially, 100% especially, souvenirs right now. These are all CP items that you use to upgrade the units in your bin. What do I mean by CP items? Well, let me grab the rest of these souvenirs and I'll explain. Boom. So if we go over here to the character list, right there, you'll see that every character in here is represented. In fact, I'm only missing one, and that's Sayaka. I'm hoping I was going to pull her on the freebies. I haven't yet, which means I may have to hit her OnlyFans to do it. But if I go down here to the bottom, and let's grab a fresh unit. Let's grab Lefolia. Now, Lefolia being level 1 means that she has no upgrades. She's fresh. Everything I do to her is brand new, and basically just she's an empty palette, more or less. So when you max Number Breaker, you get a certain number of stats. But if I click on her and I go to CP reward list, you'll notice here that after I upgrade her to level 2, right now she's level 1, she'll get 10 agility. At level 3, if I go back in here, I'll get 5 iris. Level 4, 8 dex. Level 5, 5 iris. Then we get 50 HP, and this actually compounds. So as you upgrade these, you will be able to use these stats in battle. That's why I say at the beginning of the video, you can use your 2 and 3 star units to upgrade your 4 stars. Now, the reason that I talk about this in the realm of a crossover unit, obviously it's not just crossovers. There are 120 units in total in the game, and I have them all except for the Sayaka, and I will be getting her before she leaves. So let's look at Haruhime, for example. She's level 45. She's almost maxed. In fact, level 39, 38 is basically your last one that gives you upgrades. So see, we got Strength 12, Magic 12, Endurance 3, so on and so forth, and a ton of Iris, all the way up here to level 50. Now, if you want to know how much Iris you can get, at level 49, you will have accrued 150 Iris per unit. 150 Iris times 120 units is a lot. Take my word for that. It is a lot. But I'll be honest, it takes so much to upgrade a unit to level 50. You're probably not going to do very many units like that. Even there's a million Valis there at level 46, and she's coming up on that here actually fairly quickly. Now, the upgrades end here. You get a big MP upgrade at level 39, HP upgrade at level 38. So level 39 is kind of like your last one that really counts. Everything after that's kind of vanity rewards, books and Iris and things like that. But let's go back down here to our clean palette, that is Lefolia. All right. So you can actually upgrade her pretty quickly. And when you upgrade them, you want to click here on Offer Present, and it'll tell you what items these units desire. So, Dungeon Sandwich, Book of Knowledge, Single Flower, these are like the base items. You'll notice I'm sitting on a ton of quite a few of these. Most units either like the Flower or the Dungeon Sandwich. There's a handful of units that like Books of Knowledge. Crossover units like the Folia, they're going to want the Aurario Souvenir. You'll see there's a little heart there, okay? And that's saying that this unit wants those souvenirs. So as I feed those souvenirs in, it's going to give her those big upgrades, which we'll do in a moment. Now, every unit is a little bit different. If I go over here to Reveria, the girl Reveria, notice she wants Books of Knowledge. So as I feed her Books of Knowledge, it goes from CP 100 up to CP 200. Case in point, souvenirs, well, they're 5 CP. But with most of these items, they're either 100 or 200. You will also notice there's bigger items here. So let's find somebody who wants the bouquet since I don't have the big books. Leafia? Nope, she wants Books of Knowledge. Bet wants Dungeon Sandwiches, which actually was pretty... What does she want? Dungeon Sandwiches. A lot of crossover units here, you'll notice. Bocce probably wants Dungeon Sandwiches. Samira wants Dungeon Sandwiches. Wine wants Single Flowers. So you'll notice that now Wine wants Single Flowers. Her CP is level... This then becomes CP level 200 from 100, but the Big Bouquet goes from 200 up to 400. So as a unit favors these items, they become more valuable. Also, Wine being a Xenos unit, she can also use Meat Fruit, which is normally 5 CP. It becomes 500 for Xenos units specifically. There's only a handful like Lead, Wine, who else do we have? Fear, Ray, and I think those are the only 4 we have at the moment, so Meat Fruit is an option for them. But if I go back down here, the sad reality is when it comes to crossover units, there's no big item. Souvenirs are really your only honest-to-goodness option for them. So let's go ahead and upgrade LaFolia real quick now that we've covered all of that. And I'm going to go ahead and give her, let's get her up to 10k. 10k is a good number. That's a lot of souvenirs, but we're honestly getting a ton of souvenirs right now pretty quickly. You get 99. You get 99 souvenirs a month from the Seiros and dulb exchange. So when it comes to these crossover units, when we have crossovers right now, it is worth farming all of these CP items. I'll talk about that here in a moment too. There's one other thing that is really interesting about this. But let's get her up to 10k and kind of see what kind of upgrades she gets. Alright, so that gets her up to CP level 19. Not quite 20, but pretty close. So CP level 19. So we got 10 agility, 5 iris, 8 dex, 5 more iris, that's 10 iris in total, 50 HP, now we've got 50 iris, 10 MP, so now we got 20 iris. So let's count the amount of iris in general. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 40, 50. So I got 50 iris just for what I paid in there. So 50 items, 50 iris. Kind of makes sense. Now, I will say that the upgrade now to get from level 19 to 20 becomes significantly more difficult. So case in point, let's go down here to this Bell unit. If I want to upgrade him, notice it's like he is a little under halfway to level 10 and requires 221 CP to get to level 10. Pretty straightforward. Now, if I go up here to, let's say, Noble Fencer. Now, Noble Fencer is 429 to get to level 19, but, you know, she's what, 3/4 of the way? So, as you go up, it will become harder and harder and harder to level up. Notice she's like 662. If we get up here to like the really high ranks, let's go grab Haruhime for example. So Haruhime is about halfway on her way to level 46. And it'll say right there, CP left, right up there at the top, right below where it says CP level 45. 4,300 CP to upgrade to the next level. So as you upgrade levels, obviously it becomes more and more and more difficult to get them upgraded. But if we go back to LaFolia, you will notice we got 50 iris just for that quick upgrade we did to her, which was kind of no sweat right now because we're getting a ton of those items. Now, here's the fun part. That was 50 iris right out of the gate. Remember when I said you get 80 iris per unit that you upgrade basically to max limit break? So she just got 50. Of that 80, right here instantaneously. If I go over here, so notice we have Belle here in the main story. If I change over to Ais, and I go here to character list, and I go all the way down to the bottom one more time, Lefolia is back to level 1. Ais has a whole different, basically a whole different CP list, and they do compound. So every like 5, 10, whatever stat that you get per each CP list, it will add on to that unit's total amount. Case in point, if we want to talk about Haruhime. Let's look at Haruhime's base if we go into the album. Since Haruhime is my most upgraded unit. And let's go to her units right here. So the base Haruhime, the OG Haruhime, once she's maxed out completely, HP is 3440. Magic stat is 1647. Let's pay attention to those very specifically, because those are the numbers that are going to jump up the most. So 3440 and 1647. If I go over here to the status board, and I look at my Haruhime, wherever she's at, 3770 HP and 1806 magic. She gets a triple S magic stat. And she's not even, well, she's actually fully maxed out. She's got max stats. So you can see there how much these upgrades do to improve a unit. So when we look at units every single time that we get, a new one and we talk about, hey, I'd like this one closer to a 4K HP stat. If they're like at 3750, 3800, it's actually quite reasonable that after fully upgrading them, you could be pretty darn close to that number. So these upgrades stack and they are amazing. And these numbers will not change. 3770, 1806. If I go here to Leafia in the shop, okay, and I go back to status board, you will notice these numbers do not change. Everything is cumulative. It doesn't matter who you have in the main story, basically the main screen here. Doesn't matter who you have there. The stats will always be the same, but your CP list, if we go in here, will be a little bit different. Just know that notice she's like level 41 there. So every upgrade you do to these units is cumulative. Now, it is also worth noting that as you play with these units, as you run events and stuff like that, that's why Haruhime is so high, because I use her in every event. As you use these units, it is going to upgrade them. So there is that to consider. And that's why oftentimes you'll see me run teams that are really kind of weird and make no sense when I'm just doing general story grinding. That's just because I'm grinding SA level for those years, say SA level, grinding CP level, wrong game, for these units. So once again, Lefolia down here is level 1. If I got her up to level 19 here, she would get another 50 iris. So if I did basically level 19, level 18 technically, on Lefolia in all 3 of these CP lists, I would have her, well, basically I'd have her majorly upgraded, but I'd also get 150 iris immediately. Now, to be fair, that is 150 of those souvenirs, and that's very expensive. Most of the time, like I said, you get 99 of them a month, and we really only get a bunch right now during collab, so it's not a very efficient way to equate that. But when we're not talking about crossover units, notice like Dungeon Sandwich up there, I've got almost 600 of those beasts. You get tons of those. Single Flowers, I've got a ton of those. Books of Knowledge, I have quite a few less, but that's because so few units use Books of Knowledge in comparison to Dungeon Sandwich and Single Flowers. So when you do these CP upgrades, pay attention to that little heart. It makes all the difference in the world. The final thing I really want to talk about here is farming these. So if we go into the current story event, and yes, I've been really bad about farming. If we go into the gacha, you will notice down here, Dungeon Sandwich, Book of Knowledge, Single Flower. I really wish they would give us a way to farm in here, a way to farm the souvenirs. During crossover events would be really helpful, But you can farm unlimited numbers of sandwiches, books, knowledge, and single flowers right in here, as well as obviously Exilia books and fauna and whatnot. But as you're just chasing down the 3-star tickets or the tablets or whatever, you will be farming CP at the same time. That's why I say, you guys, every month it's very important to make sure you are paying attention to these gachas, the event gachas, and taking advantage. And the really nice part is right now, used to be you could only do 100 or so of these draws. Now, like right here, I could do all 530 of mine on the spot. Let's go ahead and do those real quick. So that gave me, let's see, 1 tablet of each, 2 of the book CP items, 8 Exilia books, a bunch of fauna here. Let's scroll down. Yeah, so I got a bunch of stuff there. So I got 2 of those CP book items. So that's kind of nice. Did not get a 3-star ticket, though. That's kind of crappy. Would have expected this ticket in that one, at least. But neither here nor there. So as you're going through here, there's books of knowledge. That's what I was talking about. So I got 2 books of knowledge in that whole thing. Not a huge amount, but as you grind through this, you're going to get stuff pretty darn quickly. So take advantage, guys. And you can actually change it up here, up in gacha settings. I know pulling 500 of those really was not preferable in this situation. I could pull, you know, up to 100, or I can just go down here to 10, which would let me pull, you know, 10, the normal 100 of the items instead of the full 500 that I was able to do there. But neither here nor there, guys. You want to make sure you're farming CP items. This upgrades units so incredibly quickly, and it's a great way to farm Iris. If you really want to do the math on this, we did the math in a video a while back, but every unit per CP line has 150 Iris possible to farm. Now, you're not going to farm all that. It's going to take a long time, but 150 Iris per unit. We have 120 units in the game, and there's 3 CP lists per unit. So that's literally 360 units times 150 Iris to farm. You could farm Iris to your heart's content. So when people ask me, how do I farm so much Iris? It's grind CP items. It's that easy. That's the first of the month video, guys. Make sure you're taking advantage of this. I always say before the because this is always going to reset on the first of every month. So before that reset, I always make sure I purge all of this. I buy everything I can buy here and make sure there's no stone unturned, at least as far as what I can. Some months we're going to be a little more diligent than others, depending on how many summons we're doing and things like that. But buy everything you can here before the end of the month. First of the month, this all resets. Take advantage of CP items, guys. That's going to be the video. Like, comment, share. We'll be back at you guys with more Danmachi here really soon. And I will talk about those 3-star units. We'll do a whole video on there because there are some 3 stars that are actually insanely valuable. And we'll talk about that before you start purging all of them. We'll talk about which units are important. And been working on that video for literally a month now. I'll try to get that out over the weekend, especially for my new people, since we have all new people playing the game and we're coming up on the anniversary. So I think it'd be very helpful. So keep an eye out for that. Subscribe to stay up to date, and I'll catch you all soon.